When I call ducks and I see an immediate response, every single time it's like a heart-stopping reaction inside. It's like, oh, we got him, here we go. It's like that every time, and I think if it's not, that's when I'll stop going, but I don't think that it's ever gonna.
Ducks Unlimited Television is presented by Drake Waterfowl Systems, innovators in waterfowl hunting.
Welcome to another episode of Ducks Unlimited TV. I'm Ashley Ward. We've got a wonderful show for you featuring co-hosts Doug Larson and DU volunteers Frank Lamke and his son Eric. They hit the mighty Mississippi River in challenging cold conditions, searching for mallards on public waters. We'll also learn about the Lamke's unique boat design developed over many years of hunting the river. And we'll explore the importance of the Mississippi alluvial basin and how the members of Ducks Unlimited work to conserve it. All next on America's longest running waterfowling show, Ducks Unlimited TV.
If somebody walks up and said, I hunted ducks on the Mississippi, you would automatically think that it was someone that was hunting somewhere between Arkansas and Louisiana. It seems like in duck hunting we gravitate towards what goes on in the South. As you can imagine, to even consider hunting an area like the Mississippi up here between Minnesota and Wisconsin, you've got to be really well prepared. And I was thrilled to meet these guys and see that they're deadly serious about what they do, and they have to be. We scheduled it to be a later season hunt, but now that we're here, it's a late season hunt. It's been challenging. The weather has turned officially from autumn to winter, so we're out hunting in a big icy river, and it's been a fascinating and challenging time. Yeah, unfortunately, historically, the Mississippi was first a transportation route. And of course, it still is an important transportation route, but to get more boats and bigger boats down the Mississippi, of course, over the years, it's been dredged and channelized and straightened. And that's really diminished its capacity to hold waterfowl over time. It's kind of cool when you come up to this boat, it's like a service counter. Hi, I'd like a dozen Higdon decoys, please.
So in preparation for our first day hunt here, my son and I went out, we did some scouting. We found a spot that we felt would maintain open water.
There was a deeper riverbed running through the trees, and on that, the river was rolling over a sandbar.
We can see right here, we've got, current going past us, current going right past the boat. We're just trying to keep the decoys open.
And we thought we had a chance that water would stay open.
I don't know, we're probably still 14, 15 degrees, so we keep making ice, and Andrew got the short straw, so we sent him out with his blue gloves on. We'll have good success if we continue to have some open water and just keep the decoys moving a little bit, and then we seem to have good luck with mallards coming by. Let's go. Oh man, look at that drake. That is a winter duck. It could be a constant fight to keep the ice off the decoys. I'm glad it's Andrew's turn, but sooner or later, my number's gonna come up, so I'll get out there and get it sorted out. And probably make Frank put his waders on and have to make him go out there at some
I'll be
point.
cooking breakfast.
Well, that's good.
Probably our biggest challenge is flood control now. An inch or two of rain in northern Minnesota or northern Wisconsin spells a foot or two of water for us in the southern parts of the state. We are totally dependent on the Army Corps of Engineers regulations on how deep shipping canals need to maintain. We know in the Midwest the best habitat work we do is when we're able to completely drain different wetlands and allow native vegetation to regrow, and that simply isn't possible on the Mississippi River.
And part of DU's mission and part of all the DU volunteers and everyone's involved with it is to get some of these natural places back to where they need to be. And when you have good, clear, clean water and not rushing floods, you'll get good waterfowl habitat and the waterfowl come back to it.
Ducks Unlimited Television is presented by Drake Waterfowl Systems, innovators in waterfowl hunting. Mossy Oak Shadow Grass Blades, the official camo of Ducks Unlimited. Browning Firearms, the best there is. And by Ducks Unlimited's Ducks Expo at Texas Motor Speedway, celebrating everything outdoors.
Eric started in Ducks Unlimited the minute he could carry a bid ticket.
I still remember to this day with the auction pamphlets telling people, sign here, print here, pay the lady up front. And then I recruited my friends, at my elementary school. So I was running around with my friends doing all the same things. And then some of those friends hunted with my dad and I after that with their dads.
My wife warns me that I've created a monster.
The great thing about guys like Frank and Eric is, a lot of people say that they're very involved in waterfowl hunting, that it's their hobby, that it's their passion, but it's one thing to talk the talk and another to walk the walk, and these guys walk the walk. They take their time out of their duck season and take new hunters, take families, and make sure that people get out and see the resource, accompanied by people who know what they're doing.
I'm gonna make sort of like
a big loose U?
Yeah, and then use the bolt as part of that U.
So the number one thing that people tell us when we ask them if they want to go duck hunting with us, they'll say, no, I don't want to stand out there in the cold weather. And so if we could take the number one thing that people don't like about duck hunting and just make it non-existent anymore.
And so we've got piped in heat in several places in the blind. We have lighting, under cabinet lighting, so you can see what you're doing. You don't have to have the headlights and the flashlights. And then we also have a cook stove built in. And then the heaters, they've got protection under here. With another heat shield down under that. There are days like today where it's slow and you can't sit and stay if you're not comfortable.
Unless you're warm and well fed.
Yep.
That's exactly right. On the line. And the better fed you are and the warmer you are, the longer you'll stay, and who knows
what happens.
What'll happen.
Two broke off.
Right, I lost it in the trees.
Go.
They've got a really interesting camouflage system on top of the boat, so instead of having panels or a rollback or something like that, essentially they've got cord grass wrapped around a pipe, and it functions as a hinge, and you can put these small bunches and adjust your camouflage in 4-inch increments.
The blinds are designed to help them hide, and so that they don't have to be perfectly still.
We can give people who are hunting with us the ability to get that rush when they see the interaction and the birds turn on a call.
So what I did is I started to donate hunts to my local chapter and then to the state convention that I belong to. And we did that because it was a way for me to increase my impact on Ducks Unlimited, for the habitat and for the ducks. It brings back the memories of when you first came out and your first hunts, as well as your kids' first hunts. Trying to put back more than what I take, or at least what I take, and it's for my grandkids. It's passion, and I like to share it. That's kind of where that all comes from.
Since the dawn of time, rivers have been at the center of civilization. In North America, no river is more important to our environment than the Mississippi. The Mississippi River is one of the largest rivers in the world. In fact, the Mississippi River Valley is double the size of the Nile River Valley. It reaches from Canada to the Gulf of Mexico, from New York to North Carolina to Idaho and New Mexico. The river drains 41% of the continental United States, including all or portions of 31 different states. The Mississippi Flyway is named for it, and millions of ducks and geese travel on and around it every single fall. Ducks Unlimited has long recognized the importance of the upper Mississippi River to a healthy waterfowl population. DU oversees conservation programs in the watersheds of the Ohio, the Missouri, and Illinois rivers, southeast and northwest Wisconsin, and the Living Lakes area of Minnesota and Iowa. DU's commitment to a strong Mississippi River is ongoing and never-ending. To find out how you can help, please visit our website at ducks.org.
DU Insights is brought to you by Mossy Oak Properties. Find your favorite place at mossyoakproperties.com. DUTV is powered by Browning Ammunition, the best there is. Mossy Oak Properties, America's land specialist. Purina Pro Plan, nutrition that performs. And Plano Synergy and Zinc Calls, a champion in every call.
The way to be prepared for almost any duck hunt is to be over-prepared. And of course, the great thing about going to hunt in different locations is you learn all kinds of things. And you know, I learned hunting with Frank and Eric that you have to be crazy prepared to be out there, and you know, be prepared for the fact that virtually anything that touches water or gets near water is going to freeze, whether it's outboards, whether it's electrical cables for motion decoys. The ropes that you use to tie the boat to the dock are frozen. And every whip stitch thing that you do can be a real challenge. I think it's important to point out the amount of accessibility there is for public hunting in this region. The upper Mississippi has over 270 miles of boatable and huntable land and countless ramps on both sides of the river.
The work that DU is doing to help us create new areas for waterfowl and new areas for waterfowl hunters to experience the sport will help ease some of that overcrowding if we can find areas.
I think that, you know, at a time when people are talking about shrinking land opportunities and difficult land access, I think that's a proper mallard duck right there, huh? It's cold once you get outside that boat. I'm freezing to death out here. That's a really important feature. This is a really important part of the world where a guy can get out with a boat and safely and effectively hunt ducks.
Everyone wants to get to the spot, but it's also about, you know, getting good separation and working the birds and not, you know, shooting high. It's all, I mean, I try to get back to, we kind of talked about it a little bit in the blind this week. It's about the art and the craft of waterfowl hunting as much as it is going out and pulling the trigger.
It's not who has the most decoys or the most motion decoys, it's who understands where the birds want to be at what time of day and what the birds need to be happy. When it gets this cold, the birds are having a hard time moving around. They're getting from food to water and to loaf and rest, and when they're moving, they're looking for tranquility. Swimming decoys in the current, absolutely. I think the spinning wing decoy thing can sometimes be more of a hindrance than a help. And what I'm trying to say is keep changing things up. Think outside the box. That sounds trite, but it's important.
Now, what I like about this hunt here in Wisconsin is how I grew up personally hunting big boat blinds, heaters, cold weather hunting, public water, and I think that's how a lot of people get started hunting. And I cut my teeth on learning how to blow a duck call and this exact type of boat blind, and also how to call ducks. And let's talk a little bit about not really the duck call, but how to call public water ducks, so what you're looking for. The first thing, and I think the most important thing, is understanding the conditions and also understanding the ducks in which you're calling at. Now, if you're hunting a refuge situation, a lot of times a public area or a river system or whatever is along adjacent to a refuge. So you have what we call local ducks. Now, these local ducks have migrated from the north and they're living there, and they might be there for a couple days, could be a week, could be a month. Those ducks are really, really smart. And so you have to call it those ducks much differently than you do ducks that are migrating into the area, following the river system down, coming from the north, migrating across the big lake on a north wind, clear day. When you're in that situation, if you see ducks come up over the tree line and they're fairly low to the ground, typically that's 60 to 100, 110 yards high, typically you know that they're going to be local ducks, ducks that have been there for a little bit. So doing hail calls, doing, a 5-6 note hen call, you don't want to do a lot of that. You just want to sound like ducks on the water, doing feed calls. Really, really soft calling, sound like natural ducks in a feeding area going about their business. Now, if you look up in the sky, sunny day, north wind, and you see some high ducks, you see they're migrating across a big open water river system, they're looking for a party. If you're the first one to strike them, more than likely they're going to decoy and come to you unless you mess it up. One thing about public water hunting, remember, you can blow a loud duck call soft, but you can never blow a soft duck call loud. I hope that helps. Good luck, and remember, call them close.
Duck Talk with Fred Zink, powered by Plano Synergy and Zink Calls, a champion in every call. DUTV is brought to you by Native Nurseries, hand-selected, hand-grown plants for wildlife. Higdon Outdoors, quality, customer service, innovation. That's Higdon. Biologic, scientifically proven wildlife products. Closed captioning for Ducks Unlimited Television is brought to you by Mossy Oak Bottomland, the official timber pattern of Ducks Unlimited.
When acclimating your gun dog to work out of a boat, Wild Rose Law number 8 applies. Get it right on land before going to the water, unless you're really fond of swimming. Place the boat on a solid surface and teach entry and exit, including a water platform if that's what you intend to use. Next, we move to shallow water. We teach the dog to enter and leave the boat while he's still got his footing. This builds his confidence. Now we're up for a boat ride. We're expecting a still, quiet, and confident behavior. Entry and exit of the boat and deeper water are going to require some assistance. One, you can use a vest for lifting into the boat, or you can use a platform. Teaching your waterfowl retriever to work out of a boat is just another step on the journey to developing a great gun dog. Just remember to take it one step at a time. Success builds upon success.
Duck Dog with Mike Stewart is presented by Purina Pro Plan, nutrition that performs.
Wet fur dog. There seems to have been a wet dog sleeping on my coat. Would you know anything about this? I will take your silence. I will take your silence as an admission of guilt.
Deny.
I think the things that are most important right now is getting people who don't look like me into duck hunting and the outdoors in general.
Look at that. Drake mallards and the best breakfast. Oops, on top single.
Of course, Murphy's Law, as soon as you get your plate of food, the ducks start working, you've got to find a place to set it down, and that sort of starts a fire drill of trying to figure out whether you can eat or shoot or call or... Shoot him. This is how we do it.
Okay, you're doing something right when you have to put down your breakfast to kill a Drake mallard. That was a first for me.
Really? Well, that's the first rule. When I hand you a plate, you better have a place to put it.
I didn't. I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do with this?
One day I was goose calling, practicing in my backyard, and I live in the city, so for probably 5 square blocks they could hear what was going on. And all of a sudden I heard an answer. So I got in my truck, I drove down the road a little bit, got on it again, and I got another answer. So I drove back down towards the sound. I finally zero in, I pulled up to where he was, and I blew my call out my window. And this little kid comes running around the back of the house, And he blows on his call, he goes, that was you? And I was like, yeah, man, how do you call like that? You're 11 years old, you know? He goes, I'm 13, whatever. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I never took that opportunity, but I always think about that as a missed opportunity to snag that kid and get him down here. Moving up to Minnesota, there's a huge population of Hmong that live in the state, and their heritage is hunting as well. Living in my neighborhood and people who have so much in common, and duck hunting is one of those things that I think could bring together, as well as another avenue that Ducks Unlimited could go to get volunteers and get people who like to be in the outdoors.
I think Frank and Eric are prime examples of the importance of volunteers to DU. Not only are they on the ground raising money for the ducks, but they're also actively partaking in taking new hunters, young hunters out. Volunteers like them really are the driver of everything we do.
Brutal cold was tamed by good old-fashioned ingenuity, proving once again that when it comes to duck hunting, hunters will always find a way. Thanks to Frank and Eric Lamke for hosting us and for their passionate support of Ducks Unlimited. Without our volunteers, DU could not accomplish our conservation goals. Visit ducks.org to learn more about how you can help. Thanks for watching, and see you next time on Ducks Unlimited TV.